Hey fellow YouTubers, this is N0AGI. First of all, sorry about the background noise. I'm here in my yard and there's neighbors with their lawn mowers and such, so we're just taking the best of the spring and summertime here in Minnesota. So what I'm here to do is the part 2 of my trailer project here, in particular about these lightings. In my previous video you probably noticed that these lights weren't lighting up, and now they are. And the way I set it up is just to experiment. I took my jump starter and then hooked up the trailer power supply to it, and I'm experimenting with it. So you will see that this is lit up, and on the side that's lit up too, and that's lit up, and these two tail lights are lit up, except this one has only a part of it lit up. And on this side here, I don't know if you can see it because of sunlight, but that's lit up too. And this one here on the other side is also lit up. And of course this front side, I took the lid out because I wanted to show you guys something here. So let's go over here. If you open this housing, this is the case that goes on top of that. And if you look at the LEDs, they are lit up bright here. However, they weren't this bright earlier. And I noticed that there's a screw here. I don't know if you're able to see it, but let me see if I can focus that. This screw here is almost like it acts almost like a potentiometer. And if I just watch what happens to the lights here, when I turn this, they go off. And then when I turn them, they light up. But at some point you can actually adjust the brightness almost. Just kind of weird that these screws would behave that way. And I thought maybe it's just a loose connection or something on this side of the tail light, or the front light. They call the I don't know what they're called, but anyways, these lights here. So I thought maybe it's just some sort of a loose connection with the screw and whatever is causing the lights to go on and off and then go dim or bright. So what I did was I went to the other side here and I opened its case up, and same thing here. There's the same screw here. These other ones are rivets, but this one screw here, right? So see what happens when I do that. And when I turn this anti-clockwise, they go off at some point in time. They go off, right? They go off. But then when I turn this back on, you could actually set these up so that they're bright, or I don't know. They seem almost like they are ground lugs in the back. That could be it. But that doesn't explain to me why they would go bright and dim depending on where I lock the screw at, which is kind of weird. So if you guys know anything about this, let me know. I would love to understand. So this, and I can understand this was to hold the ground lug in the back. It's hard to kind of get in the back of this because over here this whole thing is sealed off, right? So there's no easy access to get through here. You could get underneath. Let me see if I can get that underneath. So like for example over here, it's hard to tell to get into it. But anyways, so at some point these lugs here, earlier on when I was experimenting, when I locked the screw in at a certain place, these LEDs would glow lighter or dimmer, but right now they are much brighter. So anyways, I'm glad that these are working, but it doesn't help me understand why this screw would control its brightness. Or maybe it's just some rust or whatever in the back. That could be it too, right? I mean, if there was enough rust in the back, that could potentially act as a resistor. Anyway, so right now this seems to be bright enough. I can't seem to get them any dimmer, so anyways, that explains maybe the rust reason, I think. I don't know. If you guys know anything about this, let me know. I'm gonna try the same thing here. This light here seems to be also bright, so I won't mess with that, but let's go in the back here. This one here is dim, while these are brightly lit. There's only one LED glowing here, so let's see if I can get that open, see if we can take a look at it. Alright, so I opened the case up for this one, and just one of the LEDs is lit. The others seem to have some rust around in them over here, and I saw some water in the case, so that maybe those LEDs are whatever, got some water in them, or who knows what. So anyway, so what I'm gonna do and see if I can use a screw here. As you can tell, you know, the more you see that other time that other LED came up. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. Let me mess with this. I'll be right back. Well, actually I've discovered something here for this side of the lamps. I went in the back here. Let's see if I can focus this. You see that? So that is indeed the ground lug that was perhaps loose on the other ones, and maybe some rust got in there and acted those LEDs to go dim a little bit. But anyway, so it's not a potentiometer, but explains the rust may have factored in some behavior there with brightness and dimness and whatever. So I think in this case though, with this particular tail lamp, looks like those other LEDs must have gone busted, but let's see if I can play with this. Okay, so I just cannot get these other LEDs to light up. I bet these are either busted or whatever because of those water here. The way these housings work, this whole thing is a unit, and there's no way or no easy way for us to dismantle this black outer case to get into these LEDs and see what they are, what's going on. There might be a way for me to use some tool, cutting knife, and go around it and see if I can cut it out and see if I can pull it out and see what's going on. But if I were to just use my flathead screwdriver and pull it out, as you can tell, this whole housing it moves. That tells me that it's fairly in there. It's hard to get it out. So let me see if I can cut this open and get this, see if I can see what's going on behind this black case here. Another option would be, if I can get that opened, I can then replace these LEDs with from the toolbox here. I have a bunch of these, so I can replace them and get them to work, right? That might be a better way to look at it. So I'm gonna go get my knife, cut around it, or try to get it out, cut it and get it out, and see if I can get through this box here. Alright, so what I've learned from this screw here is if your LEDs don't glow, try to wiggle the screw here, open the case, try to go counterclockwise and clockwise a few times, and then re-secure the screw, and that might actually get these get the LEDs to light up for you. That's what happened for me in the front here. Those other lights weren't lighting up earlier over here. What I did was, see there's rust in there? All of that rust came out of this screw here. So anyways, I unscrewed it and then screwed it back in, and then that took care of lighting up the LEDs here. So if in case you guys happen to have the same issue, this might be an easy fix. Okay, but in my other case, the tail lamp, that in fact is busted because my those LEDs, the other LEDs, are not lighting up. All right, I'll be back. My goal, you know, one of the things I kind of talked about in my previous video of this trailer lights project was to save this guy and use him, which is fine. I think I might still go with that because I can use this extension to connect it up to my Jeep there, and hopefully that should take care of it, because this thing is so rigid. When I try to plug this whole thing into this Jeep's trailer housing here, that thing is so heavy, right? And it's trying to yank on this, and it's trying to pull this whole housing out of the socket, and I'm trying to see if I can avoid that. And one way to avoid that is to just get this extension here from here and take that and then plug that into the Jeep. So nothing fancy, but something I'm learning as I'm working on this. This might be useful to some of you guys also if you're running into similar experiments and projects. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so that didn't work because this sticky thing was not so much to hold this thing to it. This whole thing is one piece, so there's no way for me to get just this part out. That's not gonna work. So this cushion here, the sticky pad cushion here, is for this housing to rest on top of this, so to prevent water from getting in or whatever, right? I have a riveting tool. I'm gonna take these rivets out. I'm gonna take these 3 rivets out by drilling into them and then just getting rid of them, and then repair the housing, replace these LEDs, and then put new rivets in there. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, let's get going here. Alright, that's done. Let's go to the other one. Okay, so I took those rivets out. Let me show you a couple here. Just drilled through those holes and took those out. There seems to be another problem though. It's probably a good thing, right? I think this whole housing is sealed. There's no way for us to get in there that easily. So I guess what I'll do is, if you look in the back here, I will cut this zip tie out, take this, disconnect it, take it to my workbench and see if I can get in there. It's good in a way, because these are made really well. They're not supposed to be, or they're not meant to be repaired and fixed. These are use once and throw and replace sort of a model. But anyway, so let me see if I can tinker with that, and I'll be back. I don't know how much time it'll take, but I'll keep you guys posted. Alright, so here I took that out, unplugged it like so, and here's the separated housing. I will take this to my workbench and see if I can get this thing to work. Another idea might be to, if I cannot get behind it somehow, I doubt if I will be able to. So I'm thinking maybe I'll repurpose this frame, because this frame has these lock nuts in them, so the enclosure can go on top of that, right? So I definitely want to use this frame, so I can at least put this back with that housing or casing. But I'll see if I can Dremel this out and make my own LED, simple LEDs circuit board. And I believe this thing gets 12 volts, so I need to make sure that whatever LEDs, you know what, that might be a good idea to measure how much voltage this is getting. I'm not sure if there's actually a circuit box right up front and by the trailer power supply. There's a little black box, and I wonder if that black box has got a voltage regulator to supply voltage to these LEDs. Maybe these LEDs are not, or maybe this enclosure here has its own voltage regulator. So it might be best for me to make sure before I build my own circuit or LEDs, an LED board, measure what's coming out of this socket here, so I can prepare a custom LED board to suit that voltage. Okay, all right, for now I think I'll call this video complete, and I'll come back with another update. Thanks for watching. We'll talk soon. Okay, before I actually close off this video, let me measure what's coming out of this tail lamp. Looks like I'm getting about 11.7, so about 12 volts. So I just need to make my own LED board. All of my LEDs in my shack, in my workbench, are, I don't know what they're rated for. I need to go back and look at their data sheet. But anyway, so I need to account for the 12 volts and bring it down to whatever, 5-6 volts, and see if I can make that work. All right, and I'm looking for the red LEDs. All right, I'll be right back. Thank you.